Well, I got my spinal cord injury in 2004, very unusually in my case because I was shot. Usually most people get spinal cord injury from road traffic accidents, being knocked off a bike, or a sports accident. It's far more usual. And I can tell you from personal experience, because I'm based in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, it is an absolutely traumatic experience. Having a spinal cord injury, and I gather about 2,000 new people a year in Britain get a spinal cord injury, it's an absolutely catastrophic blow, not just to the body, but to the whole psyche, because suddenly you're the height of an 8-year-old, in a wheelchair. So, for me in my 40s, I'm now the height of my children, or shorter in some cases, in one case. So, that's a weird thing to get used to. And you've got the whole issue of, oh my God, if I'm going to go to such and such a place, is it going to have steps? Is that, am I going to need help getting up there? And that's quite humiliating for somebody, who's otherwise an able-bodied, able-minded person, to have to be so dependent on other people. One of the things that perhaps people don't realize about spinal cord injury is that, like other afflictions also, it really affects everybody around the person in the wheelchair, and in quite damaging ways in many cases. I spent months in a spinal injuries unit in hospital, and most of the people who were paralyzed there were not going to go back to work. They had jobs that were very physical, perhaps they were plumbers, fitters, builders, tennis coaches, whatever. They're not able to do those anymore, and that sends them into a spiral of depression and self-pity. So a lot of people who are afflicted with spinal cord injury react in ways that they could never have imagined. They snap out, they lash out at their nearest and dearest around them. Don't push me, don't touch me, I'll do it myself. What do you think I am? I'm some kind of invalid? They react like that in a quite aggressive way because they're struggling to cope with what's happened to them. And marriages break up like this. A lot of marriages and partnerships do not survive the trauma of one of those partners being made paralyzed by spinal cord injury. It's a terrible thing to happen, not just to the person themselves, but to the family and parents and children around them. It can absolutely break a person, which is why the foundation is so important, trying to find a cure for it. The reason I support the Nichols Spinal Injury Foundation is that it's offering some hope, probably not to me, but to the tens of thousands of others who've got this, who are essentially, in many cases, able minds trapped in disabled bodies. And that's incredibly tough for people. I mean, I make the most myself of being able to use my limbs as much as I can, but for many people, they can't do that. What this foundation is doing is getting the best research they can into a cure for this terrible affliction, so that, sometime during this century, during our lifetimes, I hope, there will be a cure for this. They will find a way to repair people's spinal cord, and people who've only had half their body or less will be able to once again enjoy using the body that they were born with.